So this is a set of watercolors that I picked up off of Amazon. Very cheap. It's a 48 color set, and I think with the tax it was only like 20 bucks, something like that. I'm probably going to butcher that name, Giorgine. But let's open it up and see what is in here. This looks like a glove that I'm going to guess you put on to keep your hands from smearing your paper. Interesting. I've never seen that with a painting set before, but interesting. Oh, we've got some watercolor postcards, 300 gram. I'm not seeing, maybe I'm missing it. Doesn't say whether it's acid free or not, but you know, let's come with it. We've got a watercolor color card showing what the shades are that come with it. Actually, it looks like they have a lot more shades than, because that's a lot more than 48. Probably for different size sets. This is something I've noticed comes with a lot of these Chinese watercolors. Is for some reason they put this little microfiber cloth in with them with their name on it. I've never quite figured out what it's good for, but I have found it's good for cleaning the camera lenses. Alright, so let's get this out of here. Now the box itself is actually pretty sturdy, but you can see that the one that I received, it looked like they might have dropped it or some such. There's this additional, it's kind of like one of those tablecloth covers that you would get. It's like fiber backed and some sort of PU leather on the front. I assume that this is maybe for putting your watercolor postcards on so that you don't make a mess on the table. I have this silicone mat myself. Alright, so let's get this out. Looks like there is a 2B pencil included in here. And looks like it's actually a fairly decent quality pencil because the lead is centered. A lot of times the cheaper pencils, you can't even sharpen them. Now looking at the box, doesn't look like it really got much damage from that crushing. It's got a finger hold in the back so you can hold it. Let's open it up and see what our paints look like inside. Okay. Cover on the paints. These are half pans. There's a little sponge over here. A brush. That. Oh, actually, this is a fairly decent quality brush. I mean, it's a little stiff or whatnot, but at least it's not one that looks like it's going to be shedding a million hairs everywhere. And then the usual, the watercolor brush. It seems everybody and their mother puts one of these or more in a set whenever they sell them. They're okay. I mean, I like them for like wetting the background of paper or going in and wetting around a subject because you know you always have clean water when you do that. I don't so much like to use them for painting though. You know, you get too much of a splotch of water and you've ruined everything. Now, we do have a mixing area in here. This lid feels like it's a little loose on there, but I think that's just the way that the hinge is. Let's see what we've got if we take this out. And additional mixing areas in the bottom if you wanted to pick this up. Now, the paints are in, this is one of those really cheap plastic trays. So unlike more expensive sets that have the metal clamp liners in here that you can put them in, this one is just an inexpensive plastic insert. I don't really think that that knocks any points off though, because if the paints themselves perform half decent, you know, that's what we're looking for. Now at $20, I'm not so sure that you know, they're going to be great. But anyway, this is a postcard I was using in another video. We're just going to go onto the back of this one. Let's try out their brush. Let's go in here and, well, the color seems to re-wet pretty easy. Well, actually it's a fairly creamy color. Let's take it over here onto our trusty palette. Put some down and add in water and see. Yeah, not too bad. I didn't pre-wet the paper here, so we're going right on to dry paper. That's decent transparency. I mean, looks like it's got a decent amount of pigment. Let's go ahead and wet the paper up here. Try one of the reds. Seems to be very similar in its pickup as the blue was. Very vibrant, rich color. I mean, that's actually quite strong for a set of watercolor paints that was only 20 bucks. Now let's see how it mixes. Now that's what I was afraid of. This is something that happens quite often with a less expensive watercolors. You tend to get a lot of mud when you mix the colors. Now, that was a blue and a red, which probably should have made something purplish, but as you can see, we've got something not quite purple. I would say that's a sort of a dark taupe brown, but this is one of the things that is very common with the less expensive watercolor sets, because you know, the pigments that they're using in them aren't going to be absolutely pure pigments. But again, this is not something that I would really knock the paints for. If you work with paints and do yourself a color swatch and test how they intermix with each other, you can get an idea for what you're going to get when you mix the certain colors. It's always a good idea to do that really with any of your paints. But these do seem to be pretty vibrant. Now let's come in with some just water and see how well they re-wet. It's not going to obviously have been completely dry. Now this is definitely a staining red. But yeah, they seem to re-wet fairly well. Now there's some really vibrant, what look like might be neon colors in this. This one might even be metallic maybe, or maybe it's just the angle, the way I'm looking at it. Let's give it a go, see what it looks like. No, it's just a very bright pink. These paints really, for a $20 set of paints, I can't really say that I'm going to complain about them. Now, I wouldn't really want to trust their light fastness, and again, this making mud, whenever you mix just two colors, well, let's test it out again. Let's try something entirely different. Let's see what we get if we use some of their green. Let's grab some of their yellow and see if we actually get a yellow-green or something much more unusual. That's not bad. That works as I would have expected. You can see that these colors are really quick to pick up, which that surprises me. A lot of the really inexpensive paints are not. You get in there and work with them, and they're just they're quite a nightmare. You know, you can scrub and scrub and scrub, and you don't get any color to come up on them. But these don't seem to be like that. And the colors are very vibrant. And again, some interesting mix. Now that one actually did come out a shade of purple. But yeah, overall, I would have to say I recommend these paints. I mean, they're, you know, obviously you're not going to want to do works of art that you intend to, you know, last for 100 years, or you wouldn't want to do something in a cheaper paint like this that you're going to sell to someone as a piece of art. You know, we really don't know what the light fast qualities are of these. Now, you could do your own light fast test if you wanted to take the time to do that. I doubt that the results would be that good, but just for the joy of using the paint, just for having fun making art, I believe that this set is well worth the $20 and probably a bit more. Very surprised, and very, very pleasantly surprised at the quality of the paint in this set. So give them a try, I would say. I don't think that you'll be disappointed.